Hello, and welcome to Cumberland Valley Martial Arts and Yoga Center. My name is Sam, and this is Janelle, and we're going to practice yoga with you today. I'll be leading today's practice, and Janelle will be flowing along with us, and she'll offer some modifications for several of our poses. So just flow along and do what your body can do. I'll offer maybe one suggestion on a pose. She may offer a different suggestion on that same pose. And if you have maybe even a third suggestion that you like, feel free to flow and make the practice yours. So let's go ahead and just extend our legs out and come down, lying down on our mats. We're going to start our practice just laying down on our mats. If you have a blanket or another small weighted object that you want to lay across your waistline, just for a little weight, a little grounding, feel free to do that. If that's not for you, feel free to just lay there and with no weight. And you can rotate your arms out so your palms are facing the ceiling. Get a little shoulder opener. If it's more comfortable to have your palms facing down, that's fine. Just find a position that's comfortable for you. Sometimes people like to put their left hand over their belly and their right hand over their heart and just feel the body breathe. So opportunity maybe to close your eyes here. Take a few deep breaths in through the nose and release through the mouth. Inviting new space, new air, new opportunity in on the inhale. And as we exhale, just releasing staleness, tightness, things that won't serve you or your space during our practice. And eventually, if it's there for you, you might choose to close your mouth and breathe through your nose. As we lay here and breathe, you can have the opportunity just to clear the mind, maybe invite an intention in for your practice if you like to do that. Some people like to practice and have a certain intention in mind. Sometimes it's nice just to practice and flow with no intention in mind as well, so whatever works for you. And as we breathe, think about the inhale, filling the belly and feeling the belly rise and expand, and then the rib cage rises and expands, and finally the chest rises. Find that little pause at the top of your breath, and then exhale, releasing the chest, softening the rib cage, and allowing the belly to sink towards the spine. Just a few more breaths, and then we'll start to move the body and connect the breath and the movement. Now that breath might be worked up to a nice 5 or 6 count inhale, finding that little subtle pause at the top and then releasing with a similar exhale, finding our little pause at the bottom of the breath and starting over again. So if you have the weight at your waistline and you chose to take that option, you can just slide that off to the side of your mat. Let's just bend our knees, bring our knees right into our chest. We're going to give those knees a little hug, pull the toes back, maybe give a little rock side to side, giving a little extra care to those muscles on each side of the spine. Eventually finding stillness, bringing those knees towards the chest. And let's take our hands around the right knee and extend the left leg out long, choosing to keep that maybe a few inches off the mat or choosing to rest the heel on the mat. And as we take our next exhale, drawing that right knee towards the right chest, or maybe getting a little hip opener, drawing it towards the hip. And then we'll inhale, straightening the right leg, bending the left leg, bringing that left knee in towards the chest. Or again, maybe for a little more hip opener, you could bring it towards your armpit. Inhaling as we get ready to change. Exhaling as we draw that right knee in. Inhale, straightening the right leg, bending the left knee. Exhaling, drawing the left knee in. Keeping the toes pulled back on both feet. Inhaling as you change. Exhale to bring that knee and find stillness. Continuing to flow with your breath's pace. Next time you have that left knee into the chest, on your following inhale, just bring that right knee in to meet it. We'll bring our hands around both knees, give both knees that little hug towards the chest. And then let's go ahead and just let the feet find gravity, slowly make their way to the mat. Knees stay pointed towards the ceiling. Take the arms out long like a big letter T. We'll start to move the back a little bit here with some twists and wiper knees. So let's set up together on an inhale. As we exhale, we're going to let our knees fall to the right side, turn our gaze to the left side. And then as we inhale, we'll bring our gaze and knees pointing back towards the ceiling or the sky. Exhale, knees to the left and gaze over that right shoulder. Again, continuing to flow with your breath pace. Inhaling to center. Exhaling as the knees and gaze fall towards opposite sides. Connecting breath and movement. Take that nice full inhale to find your center. That little subtle moment of pause. That nice full exhale to release. And then we'll work towards evening out on both sides and meeting with our gaze and our knees right back up towards the ceiling. Let's take our hands now, palms down beside the hips, and we're going to inhale and take the legs up the wall. Pressing into that mat beside the hips can help get those legs up if you're having trouble. And let's pull the toes back on the feet, lead with the heels. Take about 3 breaths here. When you exhale that third breath, go ahead and bend the knees to a 90-degree angle, then hinge at the hips and let the feet fall back down to the mat. And let's take our feet out mat width apart, so right out to the edges of the mat. Take those arms out long again. We'll set up together on an inhale, and as we exhale, let the knees fall to the right side and the gaze towards the left. Feel a little different stretch on the outside of that left thigh as we continue to breathe. Next inhale, we'll bring knees and gaze back towards the ceiling. Exhale, allowing the knees to fall towards the left side, gaze over that right shoulder, and a few breaths here. And then inhaling and bringing knees and gaze back to center. And let's bring those knees right back towards the chest, draw the toes back on the feet, give those knees a hug. And then inhale with placing the hands beside the hips, inhaling legs up the wall. And as we exhale, we're going to let the legs just sort of V open. And if you want to put one hand gently on the outside of each knee, you can do that for a little control option. Keep the toes pulled back. Let's inhale and bring the feet together. Exhale, let the feet fall away from each other. We'll get ready to inhale together. One more time, we'll exhale away. As you start your inhale, we'll bring the feet together. As you exhale, bend the knees to a 90-degree angle, then hinge at the hips, let the feet come down to the mat. And let's go ahead and cross the ankles, and we'll just sit up and find our easy seated. Make sure we walk those glutes back, sit up nice and straight and tall. We're going to get ready to move through some half moon stretches, moving into some laterals. So let's take the left hand and put it beside the left hip. Take the right hand, we're going to inhale, open. Gaze could sort of follow that right hand and then eventually sort of peek out the outside of that right shoulder. Exhale, coming back to center, placing the right hand beside the right hip. Inhaling, open with the left hand. And that gaze again might try to peek outside that left shoulder. As we exhale, coming back to center, starting this flow with your breath's pace. Inhaling as we open, careful not to round the shoulder closed. Exhale to come back. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. Just connecting your breath with your movement. If your breath pace is a little different than me or Janelle, that's fine. Make this practice work for you and your body and your breath pace. Let's even out and do one more on each side. And we'll meet back in our neutral, easy seated. And then 2 ways here. I'm going to roll forward over my ankles if you want to show the legs extended to come back into tabletop. And for tabletop, we'll go hands about shoulder distance apart, elbows and wrists stacked under the shoulders. We'll go knees about hip distance apart, stacked right under the hips. Crown of the head will face forward. We'll spread the fingers on our hands. Start with that middle finger facing forward, but depending on your wrist and your conditions, you may find a little tweak or two necessary there. So do what's comfortable for you and what works for your body. And then we're going to start our cat-cows. So we're going to inhale and tip the tailbone up, let the back arch, and bring that chest and gaze forward. Exhale, let's tuck the tailbone, let the back round, let the shoulder blades press away from the spine, tuck the chin. Inhale, tip the tailbone up, arch the back, feel the shoulder blades come slightly towards the spine. Exhale, round, feel the shoulder blades move away from the spine, keeping that belly drawn in towards the spine in both directions. And again, moving with your breath space as we inhale, opening to our cow, exhale, closing and rounding to our cat. Let's take one more in each direction. And then we'll meet in our neutral tabletop position. Taking your time to get there. If you're still flowing, continue that flow, and we'll meet here when you're ready. And then from here, we'll do a little spinal balance and add a little bit of cat motion to that. So we're going to inhale, right hand and left leg straight out. Lead with that left heel behind you. When we exhale, we're going to bring the left knee and right elbow right in together. We're going to scoop that belly in and round the back, tuck the chin. Inhale, straightening the left leg and right arm. Exhale, rounding, bending that right arm and left knee. Inhale out. One more time, we're going to exhale, bring it in. Inhale it out. Exhale, sit the right hand and the left knee down. We'll take a breath. Setting up for the opposite side, we'll go ahead and inhale left arm and right leg out, leading with that right heel behind us. Exhale, bending the left arm, right knee, rounding the back, tucking the chin. Inhaling to straighten. Exhaling to bend and round. Press that mat away from the right hand. Inhale to open. Exhale to close and round. Let's inhale, open. And this time we'll exhale, sitting the left hand and the right knee down. And then we're going to go ahead and cross the ankles behind us and come back to seated, or you can swing your legs around and come to seated that way. And then extend the legs out into our staff pose, sitting up nice and straight. And we're going to move to our boat pose. So we'll give a couple options on boat pose, and I will walk you through those options. If you have a favorite position for boat pose, go right to it, that's fine. Let's start with the feet flat on the mat and just gently lean back, keep the back nice and straight. Shoulders are relaxed in their sockets, rib cage is gently lifted. And right here, we'll go ahead and engage the core and feel that core work. Your next variation to this could be to support behind the knees and bring the legs off, or the feet off the mat, and find that balance on the tailbone. Another option could be to lose the support. You could have the option to straighten the legs. Keep the feet flexed, toes pulled back. And continue to breathe. Here in our boat pose. Arms could be out wide. Just be careful if we take that option not to round the back. As we start our next exhale, if we don't have the feet already on the mat, let's bend the knees and put the feet on the mat. And then we're going to again cross our feet, roll forward. And then from tabletop, we're going to go ahead and bend the knees, send the glutes back towards the heels, and press the mat away from the hands. See if you can find some length in the spine. And then bend the elbows. Take the work out of the pose and find your child's pose. Option here to stack the hands and rest the forehead on stacked palms. Maybe one fist or both fists stacked on each other. Whatever's comfortable for you. Hands could even float down by the sides and let the forehead rest on the mat. So just a few breaths here. Opportunity to recalibrate the breath from the beginning of the class. Check in with your body. Check in with your intention. Let's get ready to take our arms out nice and long in front of us. We're going to set up on an inhale, tucking the toes. And when we exhale, use your core strength, and we're going to find down dog. Raising the hips towards the ceiling. Settling the heels towards the mat. Pushing the shoulders away from the spine. Ears are just resting in between your biceps. Crown of the head's pointing right between those thumbs. Let's inhale up onto the toes. Exhale, press the heels towards the mat. Inhale up onto the toes. Exhale, press the heels towards the mat. You want to show this using 2 blocks, one under each hand. So if you're having trouble getting your heels to touch the mat, and they don't have to touch the mat here at all. That's why we say this is going towards the mat. But you might want to try a block under each hand that will raise your front side and help get your heels settled a little more towards the mat. So let's inhale the right leg up to a 3-legged dog. Keep those toes pointed down towards the mat. We want to keep a closed hip. Lead with that right heel. Press the mat away from the hands and feel that nice stretch down the back of the left leg. Let's exhale and sit that right foot down. We're going to get ready to inhale left leg up to a 3-legged dog. Again, keeping the toes pointed towards the mat. Hip closed. Mat pressing away from the hands. Exhaling, sitting the left foot down. Now we're going to take our first vinyasa flow. So we're going to inhale and shift to high plank or modified high plank. And then we're going to shift forward onto the toes. Exhale down with the elbows, gently rubbing the ribs. Engage the core for our up dog. Either knees on or off the mat, your choice. Exhale, finding down dog. And then we're going to go ahead and look between the thumbs. Start to tiptoe towards the wrists. When the hands start to peel up, or when the toes meet the wrists, we'll just come up nice and slow to standing. Let the shoulders round back and the head come up last. Keep from getting dizzy. And if you have a dizzy feel, take a breath in through the nose, exhale through the mouth. So let's go ahead and inhale our hands up overhead, core engaged. Take a little back bend. Exhale, bring those hips under center, soft knees, swan diving into our forward fold. Shifting the weight to the front of the feet, inhaling to our half lift, pulling those hips straight back behind you. Exhaling to forward fold, lifting the hips towards the sky. Hands on the mat, we'll step back to your version of plank. And we'll work our vinyasa flow, inhaling forward, exhaling down, elbows stacked over the wrists, core engaged for your back bend, up dog or baby cobra, your choice. Exhaling to down dog, taking a breath. Now we're going to inhale, and when we exhale, we're going to reach the left hand towards the right ankle, twisting our down dog, and seeing if we can maybe even turn the gaze, peeking over towards our right side, or maybe even all the way under that right armpit up towards the ceiling. And continuing our breath. Exhale, we'll untwist our down dog.
Then we're going to inhale, right leg up to the sky, three-legged dog. Exhale, stepping forward. Inhaling left foot to meet the right, finding our half lift. Exhaling to forward fold. Inhale, coming up nice and slow again. When the shoulders round back, let the hands float out to the side, up overhead. Connect fingertips and palms. Exhaling, eyes and hands to heart center. Then we'll inhale, sweeping back up, core engaged for our back bend. Exhale, coming back under center, soft knees as we swan dive forward. Inhaling to our half lift. Exhaling to forward fold. Stepping back to your version of high plank. Working your version of a vinyasa flow. Inhaling forward. Exhaling down, baby cobra or up dog. Exhaling to down dog. Take a breath in down dog. Then we're going to go ahead and set up together on an inhale. And when we exhale, we're going to take that right hand reaching towards the left ankle. If you don't find the ankle, find somewhere below the knee, on the shin. Gaze out towards your left side, or maybe all the way under the left armpit towards the ceiling. Again, continuing to breathe. Next exhale, untwisting our down dog. Inhaling left foot up to a three-legged dog. Exhale, stepping forward. Inhale, right foot to meet the left, finding our half lift. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, coming up nice and slow. Rounding the shoulders back, bringing the head up. Exhaling down with the hands and eyes to heart center. And then you can just let your hands go down by your side, rotate the palms out, open the shoulders, close the eyes, take a breath. And then we're going to get ready to inhale, hands back up overhead, take a little back bend, keep that core engaged. Exhale, swan diving forward into our forward fold, inhaling to a half lift, exhaling to forward fold. Stepping back with the left foot, finding our low lunge. Left hand's going to go inside the right foot, or you can use a block there. And we're going to inhale, open to our revolved twisting lunge. Bringing that right hand up to high 12, drawing that right shoulder gently back so it stacks over the left. Option to keep that hand at high 12 or bind it to the sacrum. Make sure we don't close that right shoulder if we bind the hand. If we did bind the hand, let's inhale it back up overhead. Exhale, bring it down to frame that front foot. We're going to put weight in the hands and sweep that right foot back to meet the left, finding high plank or modified. Inhale, shifting forward. Exhale down for your chaturanga push-up. Inhale to up dog or baby cobra. Exhale, down dog. Now we're going to inhale that right foot up, bend at the knee. Now we're going to open the right hip as we take that knee, point it out towards the right wall, maybe up towards where the wall meets the ceiling. Maybe it extends all the way pointing towards the ceiling. As you take your next exhale, let's close the hip. Inhale the right leg up to a three-legged dog. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, left leg to meet the right. Halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, again coming up nice and slow. Shoulders round back, hands float up overhead. Exhale, hands and eyes again to heart center. And take a breath. Then we'll get ready to inhale and sweep hands back up. Core engaged for our back bend. Exhale, hips under center. Nice swan dive forward with soft knees. Inhaling to a half lift. Exhaling to forward fold. Stepping back with the right foot into our low lunge pose. Taking that right hand inside the left foot, either on your mat or your block. Inhale, sweeping left hand open to our revolved twisting lunge. Gaze can follow as far as that nose will allow it. Again, option to keep that hand up at high 12. Option to bind to the sacrum, making sure we don't close that shoulder. Continuing to breathe. If we took the option to bind, let's inhale that hand back up. Exhale, coming down to frame the front foot. Sweeping that left foot back to your version of plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, down. Elbows gently rub the ribs. Core engaged for your back bend. Exhale, finding down dog. Then we're going to inhale, left foot up to a three-legged dog. Bend that left knee. Now rotate that knee out as we open that left hip. Knee points towards the left wall, maybe where the wall meets the ceiling or maybe towards the ceiling. Continue to breathe. Next exhale, let's close the hip. Inhale that left leg to a three-legged dog. Exhale, step it forward to our lunge. Inhale, right foot to meet the left. Come into our half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale again, coming up nice and slow. One vertebrae at a time, letting the shoulders round back. Hands float up. Exhale, down. And let's just, again, rotate the palms out. Take a breath. And we'll get ready to continue our flow. So let's inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, we're going to step right foot back and find warrior two. So if there was a straight line coming back from that left heel, right heel would line up with it. Going to open the hips. Put a little pressure on the pinky side edges of the feet while these quads are gently rotating in. You can extend the arms out, gently relax the shoulders while the gaze is out over that front middle finger. If you look down inside your left knee, make sure you see a little bit of that big toe, protecting the knee. Let's go ahead and take the right hand and bind the back of that hand right to that lower back or sacrum. Turn the left hand palm up, and we're going to inhale, open to our reverse warrior, reaching back long, like someone's tugging that left wrist right back towards that wall and ceiling point. Continuing to breathe. As we take our next exhale, let's bring that left hand forward, extend that right hand out. Now imagine, we're just going to move above the waistline here, so imagine someone has your front wrist, inhale and tugs forward. Exhale, somebody tugs that right wrist back. Inhale and shift forward. Exhale, shift back. This time we're going to straighten the front leg. Careful not to lock the knee. Inhale, shift forward. And then we're going to rotate open into our triangle pose. So we're going to reach that right hand up towards the sky. Left hand is going to be gently, the back of it, gently pressing against the inside of that left shin. Continuing to breathe again. And again, if you want to keep the right hand at high 12, fine. Other options to bind that to the sacrum. Just make sure we don't close the shoulder. If we took the option to bind, we'll inhale back up. Exhale, put a little bend in that left knee. Inhale and press into that left foot, and we'll come back up. Find warrior two. Keep your strap close by. We're going to try side angle and bound side angle. So we're going to go to side angle. Take our left hand, reaching inside the left foot, placing it on the mat or your block there. Right hand up to high 12. Left knee still stacked on that left ankle. So then we're going to take the right hand, bind the back of that hand to that lower back. If you have your strap, that strap sort of hangs down like a tiger's tail in your right hand. And then that left hand can reach in behind the knee and reach for that right hand or that strap. And then again, opening that right shoulder, trying to get that gaze back up towards high 12. As you take your next exhale, let's gently release the bind. Inhale and press into that left foot, and we'll find our warrior two. Now we're going to pivot on the ball of this back foot and come around and let the hands land inside the left foot. Might need to heel toe that left foot out towards the left side of the mat a bit. And we're going to let our right knee come to the mat for our lizard lunge pose. Once that right knee is on the mat, you can use the top of the right foot to lift that right knee and walk it back gently, just till you find the hip opener that you're looking for. You'll feel it on the top of the front of that right leg. And for now, we're just gently pressing this left knee into that left tricep. And we're just going to breathe. And then if you want to go a little deeper here, if you have a block, several different heights of the block, you can maybe rest the forearms on the block at one height or another. And as you continue to breathe, if you feel like you have more flexibility and more room to move in that left hip, feel free to lower the block or maybe even go all the way to the mat. And then if you have trouble with your left knee, I'd keep your left knee in. If you have no pain, no trouble in that left knee, you could have the option to roll that left foot to the outside edge of that left foot and let the left knee find a little gravity. Feel a little different stretch on the hip. Just continue to breathe here. This is a big, deep hip opener. So we're going to hang out here for a few breaths. Each exhale, trying to find a little release in the hip. Releasing emotions, releasing tightness and tension. And whatever version you took with your arms, if they're not straight, we're going to start to come back to our hands and straighten the arms. If we let the left knee roll out, we're going to bring that back in and put that left foot back on the mat. We're going to go ahead and move this left hand outside the left foot, maybe heel toe that left foot in. Use the toes on the right foot to lift that right knee. And we're going to inhale and step that right foot up to meet the left. Come into a halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold, shifting the weight to the front of the feet and lifting the hips towards the ceiling. And then we're going to inhale and come up nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time. Let the shoulders round back, head come up last. Palms are rotated out, and we'll take a breath. Then we'll get ready to inhale. Sweep hands up overhead. Exhale, step left foot back to warrior two, lining it up with the right heel, stacking the right knee on the right ankle, making sure we see a little big toe inside that right knee, little pressure on the pinky side edges of those feet with the with the thighs just gently rotated inward. Gaze is over that front middle finger, shoulders are relaxed. Let's take the back of this left hand, put it right here at the lower back or sacrum. Turn right hand palm up, and we're going to inhale open to our reverse warrior, reaching out long. Imagine someone's tugging on that right wrist gently, reaching up, feel that stretch go through the shoulder, that right side of that rib cage all the way into that hip. When you start your next exhale, we'll come back, find warrior two, release that left hand. And we're going to inhale and just tug that right wrist gently forward. Exhale, tug that left wrist back, just moving the torso above the waist. Inhale forward. Exhale back. This time straighten that front leg. Careful not to lock the knee. Inhale, shift forward and rotate open. And we'll find our triangle pose. Left hand up at high 12. Gaze might be trying to follow. Right hand's inside that right shin. A little gentle pressure with the back of that right hand into that shin might help hold that left shoulder open. Option to keep the left hand at high 12. Option to bind it to the sacrum or lower back, making sure that left shoulder doesn't round closed. And we're careful and don't have that right knee locked. If we chose the bind, let's inhale the hand up. Exhale, let's straighten that right leg. Inhale, press the right foot into the mat and find warrior two. Now we'll try for our side angle. So we can take that right hand, we're going to find right inside the right foot. Left hand's going back up to high 12. We're going to take the left hand and bind it to the sacrum. And if you like your strap, put it in the left hand. Let the strap hang down like a tiger tail. Right hand's going to reach inside that right knee, reach outside the right knee then. Go up and find the left hand or your strap. Reopen that left shoulder, take the gaze with it. Continue to breathe. Let's gently release the bind. Inhale, pressing into that right foot, finding warrior two. Now we're going to rotate on the ball of that back foot, come around and land the hands inside the right foot. Again, heel toeing that right foot gently out towards the edge of the mat on the right side. Placing the hands inside the right foot. We'll use the toes or the top of the left foot to lift the left knee. Walk it back gently just till you find your comfort level on your stretch there on your hip flexors. Feeling it on the top of that left leg in the front and the back of the right. So we're gently pressing this right knee into the tricep, just gently. And first option is to stay right here for the whole pose. Same options on this side exist as what we had on the other side, and if you have a favorite option you want to go to, that's fine. If you want to start to work your way down to one height or another on the block, feel free to do that. Again, if you have knee pain, keep that knee in. If you have no pain or trouble with your knee, you can rotate that right foot out to the outside edge. Let that right knee find a little gravity. If you're like me, you have a tighter right side than the left. You may feel some differences from one side to the other. Continue to breathe. Each exhale, we're looking for little gains. Think about releasing tension on each exhale, inviting new space and new air in on the inhale. So if you don't have straight arms already, whatever version you took with the arms, we'll start to straighten the arms. If you took the option to rotate that right knee or that right foot out, we'll bring it back on the mat. We're going to use the toes on the left foot to lift the left knee. Move that right hand outside the right foot, heel toe it in just slightly, and step left foot up to meet the right foot. Find our half lift. Imagine your hips are being pulled straight back behind you. Crown of the head's reaching out in front of you. Nice long back. Feel that stretch on the hamstrings. Now we're going to exhale, shift the weight to the front of the feet and lift the hips towards the ceiling and see if we can find some release and some length in the back as we breathe here in our forward fold. As we start our next inhale, let's come up nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time. Shoulders round back, head comes up last. And we're going to play a little bit with some balance and some twisting around with our eagle pose. So we'll give a couple options here. Let's start by placing the block beside the left foot. And we're going to go ahead and take the arms out, nice and long, nice and wide. We're going to give ourselves a hug, but put the left arm on top. Then we're going to go ahead and gently release that hug. Let the backs of the hands find each other. And if this is all you can get right here, maybe you can hook a thumb or hook a finger and a thumb, that's fine. If you can bring your right hand closer to your face, pass by your left hand and go palm to palm, that's great as well. So then we'll set up the rest of the pose. So options for the rest of the pose would be to have no crossed legs and just find your chair pose here, pulling the knees back so they don't stick out in front of the toes. Another option would be to cross the right leg over the left and just let the toes rest on that block. Bend that left knee like so. Another option would be to bring that right leg just above the left knee, wrap that right foot around the back of the left calf, and then bend the knee and find your eagle pose as such, and see which one works for you as you balance and breathe. And whenever you're ready, start to straighten the left leg or both legs, depending on the option you took. We'll uncross that right leg from the left. Gently release the hands, gently release the elbows. Take a nice big wide arm stretch, arching the back, core engaged. Exhale, let's just round. Give that beach ball a big hug. And then just release. Shake it out. We'll get ready to move to the other side. So knowing the options from the other side, if you don't need your block, that's fine. I like to keep it there just as an option. Or if I do lose my balance, I can always come right back to there and regain and reset and see where I want to go from there. So whatever works for you. So let's go ahead and again start with that hug. This time we'll put right arm on top. And then we'll release that hug, back of hand against back of hand. And again, if that's where you go and that's all you can get, that's fine. If you can maybe hook a finger and a thumb, you start there. If you can get your left hand to come towards your face and then pass by the right hand and go palm to palm, that's fine as well. And then the same options here. If crossing the legs isn't for you and that balance isn't there, you can always just bend the knees and sit into a chair pose from here with eagle arms. Next option would be to cross the left leg over the right, gently rest the ball of the foot on the block, then bend the right knee gently. And then last option, bring the left leg above the right knee, wrap the foot around the right calf. It may stay or it may come unwrapped. Bend your right knee, try to keep your knee behind your toes. Breathe. And when you're ready, maybe more gracefully than that, you can just gently release the legs, gently release the hands, release the shoulders, give it a little shake out, and then maybe a big, nice, wide open stretch here, arching the back, exhaling, rounding the back, tucking the tailbone and chin, and then releasing down, hands by the side. And we'll get ready to step up to the top of our mat. And let's inhale, hands up overhead. Get ready to sit down into our chair pose. So options on the chair pose. First, glance down and make sure the knees are always behind the toes. And if that means our chair is really high, that's fine. If you have a little medium or a little lower chair, that's fine too. Prayer hands here are an option. Straight arms are an option. Whatever works for you in your chair pose. Of course, as always, continue to breathe in our pose. Next inhale, let's sweep the hands up overhead, straighten the legs. Exhale into our forward fold. Shift the weight to the front of the feet and lift the hips towards the ceiling. Let's place our hands on the mat and step back to high plank. And we're going to work our vinyasa flow. So inhale, forward. Exhale, down. Elbows gently rub the ribs. Inhale, up dog, core engaged. Exhale to down dog. And then go ahead and bring your knees down to the mat. And we'll take a child's pose. Taking the arms out long in front of you. Settling the glutes back towards the heels. Bending the elbows. Resting forehead on stacked hands or stacked fists, whatever's comfortable for you. Taking a few breaths here, just checking in, scanning the body, see what's feeling different through the hips, through the shoulders. Checking in with the breath. And when you're ready, you can just come on up to a seated position.
you can swing your legs out in front. Make sure we walk back, glutes are walked back, sitting up nice and straight. And we're going to go ahead and put some space between our feet. What's comfortable, just go as wide as what you can with your comfort level. And we'll draw the toes gently back. And we'll bear with me just a second while I deal with a little Charlie horse here in the hip. We'll get that worked out. Might have to not go quite as wide. So let's go ahead and inhale, hands up overhead. We're going to rotate the torso so we line up with the right leg. Exhale, forward fold right over that right leg. Hands might reach out and just gently lay on top of the foot. They might frame the foot. They might lay on the shin, whatever's comfortable for you. Just avoid grabbing the foot and cranking into your forward fold. Let that forward fold come through the hips, through reaching out long with the back. Keep that left hip on the mat. Continue to breathe, looking for length on each exhale. As we start our next inhale, let's slide our hands up that right leg. Bring that torso back neutral. And we'll inhale, hands up overhead again. This time we'll rotate, lining up over the left leg. Exhale, forward fold over that left leg. Let's keep the toes flexed on both feet. Keep that right hip on the mat. Gently folding over the left leg. Again, not cranking on that foot with the hands, just using it as a place to rest the hands. If you want a little deeper bend here, just put a little bend in the elbows. Try to keep from getting that really rounded back, just that nice natural rounding. Crown of the head's reaching towards the big toe. And as we start our next inhale, sliding hands up the left shin, rotating back to neutral. And we'll go ahead and bring hands up overhead. This time we're going to exhale and just forward fold right out towards the mat. Keep the toes pointed back. Reach out long. Keep the shoulders gently in their sockets. Rib cage is lifting as we reach out long. Again, just that natural little curve in our back, but trying not to get that big hump in our back. And continuing to breathe. Reach out long with the crown of the head. As we start our next inhale, just let the hands slide right back up the mat. And we'll bring our feet back together. And let's come down onto our mat. And we're going to take, we'll set up like you're setting up for wiper knees. And then we're just going to take our left leg and cross it right over our right. So just right at that left ankle, sitting right above this right knee. Take your arms out nice and long like a letter T. We'll inhale together. As we exhale, let the left foot fall to the right side. And maybe turn the gaze over that left shoulder. Feel that nice twist down through the spine. Feel it on that left hip. Continue to breathe. As we take our next inhale, let's let that right knee come back up, pointing towards the sky. We'll uncross the left leg from the right. Cross the right leg over the left, right above that left knee. Set up together on an inhale. We'll exhale and let the right foot fall to the left side, turning the gaze over that right shoulder. And an option here could be to rest that right foot on a block. Sorry I didn't give that option on the other side. But if that's a little too much to let it come all the way to the floor, maybe a block or a blanket or a pillow could go under that right foot. Your option. As we start our next inhale, we'll let that left knee point back towards the sky, uncross that right leg from the left, and then let's bring our knees in towards our chest, just like we started off the class. Pull the toes back, give a nice hug of the knees towards the chest. See what feels different now in those hip flexors at the top of each of those legs. Maybe feels a little not as tight as it did in the beginning of the class. If you want to give that little rock side to side, see how the back feels. What are the differences on each side of the back from the beginning of the class? You may even want to cross the ankles and gently roll from like the tailbone to about the bottom of the shoulder blades. Again, just giving some extra care to the back. And then eventually finding yourself sitting up. And we're going to get ready for our rest period. So if you have any props at home, feel free to take whatever restorative type of pose you want to add to your Savasana. So option can be just to simply lay flat on the back. And a lot of people like that traditional corpse pose where we're just laying flat on the back, maybe rotating the shoulders open with the palms facing towards the ceiling. And these are just going to be some options I'm calling out here. If you like your palms down, you might try that option. You might try to lay that left hand back on the belly and the right hand at heart center and just find your rest position here. And then if you wanted to add some props, depending on what you might have at your home practice available, you could always roll the blanket into a little bit of a bolster. I like something under my knees for that final resting period. If you had a second one, you could put right under these the ankles here, right under the Achilles. If you like a block for like a restorative type of bridge pose, I'll turn sideways here. And you could lay that right under the sacrum. Sometimes it's tricky to find the right spot. Usually I cue that you should be able to easily lift your legs when you have it just at the right spot there above that tailbone. And you can choose knees bent or knees straight with this option. So those are just some options for you to think about, but definitely find what's comfortable for you and the right option for your body to end your practice. I'll be sitting during Savasana, but you feel free to lay in the best position for you. So think about letting the breath pace come down to normal. We've done the work for the practice. Now we're going to rest and restore and give back to the body. Just let the breath come down to its normal pace, start to soften. We'll still keep the mind restful. Try to keep things off of our mat, outside of our mind and outside of our space yet for these last few moments of rest. Again, continuing to scan through the body from head to toe, trying to relax everything, our face muscles. Make sure the jaw is relaxed. We don't have the tongue clenched to the roof of the mouth. Think about the shoulders being soft, the chest and the rib cage relaxed, core is relaxed. Hips all the way down through the quads and thighs are just melting into the mat. Calves and feet are relaxed as well. And enjoy your time of rest. So you can start thinking about bringing some small feelings of awareness back to the body. Maybe through a deep breath in through the nose, releasing through the mouth. Feeling the chest rise on the inhale, soften on the exhale. Maybe raising the eyes. Starting to move some small joints like fingers and toes. Just gently and slowly awakening the body, keeping the mind restful. Wrists and ankles start to move. And eventually, when you're ready to bend the elbows and knees, if you like to make your way to your right side, you could do that. Take a few more grounding breaths. Maybe taking the option to place one hand in contact with the ground. Just feel the nice calm, recalibrating energy coming from the earth. Revisiting your intention one last time for your practice if you decided to have an intention for this practice. Scanning through the body one more time. Feeling the differences and the rewards now, having practiced for the last hour. And when you're ready, you can make your way to a comfortable seated position. Let's go ahead and bring our hands together, joining fingertips and palms. Let's end our practice with a unifying breath together. We'll breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. So let's start our inhale and exhale. Thank you so much for joining me and Janel for this flow of yoga. We hope to see you again soon. Namaste, friends.